Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. Welcome to another episode of the Justine Podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about relationships and dating as an entrepreneur. Um, in the EntrepreNEGUS series, of course, I'm always talking about just the different aspects of entrepreneurship, but I think this aspect needs to be kind of factored in, as far as relationships and dating, because it's a very important piece. It's a very important piece because it can keep you successful as an entrepreneur. It can make you unsuccessful as an entrepreneur, and it can hold a certain precedence that can really do you dirty in the grand scheme of it all when you're not pretty much doing what you need to do, as an entrepreneur to make sure things are solidified. So I kind of wanted to talk about that from the perspective of dating an entrepreneur and dating as an entrepreneur, like both dynamics, because a lot of times it can get fucked up and get fucked up for you. Like, I know I talk about when it comes to entrepreneurship, like you have people that are entrepreneurs, people that are entrepreneurs. If I'm not mistaken, one of the last EntrepreNEGUS I did, on the Big Fish in the Small Pond, EntrepreNEGUS 6, Big Fish in the Small Pond. It was I talked about the entrepreneur mind versus the entrepreneur. Like, this kind of it's important because now when you're dealing with relationships, like, you have to make sure that you two are on par with each other, or close in proximity to one another to continue to elevate and continue to move. And so you got to be able to, there's a lot of things as far as relationship wise that have to be deciphered and thoroughly understood. Because a relationship with an entrepreneur is not the same as a relationship with a person who works a 9 to 5. You feel what I'm saying? A relationship with an entrepreneur is not the same as a person who's retired. A relationship with an entrepreneur is not the same as a person who, retired, is like, or is in school. It's different dynamics to the different types of relationships you have to have. And so when it comes to relationships as a whole, of course, we need to be within the likeness of the person that we're trying to involve ourselves with. But in addition to that, even deeper than that, we have to make sure that what we're involving ourselves with is about flow. It's about flow and progression. It's not necessarily it's about flow and progression, growth and expansion. Well, ascension and expansion as forms of growth. So all of these things have to be ongoing missions, ongoing pieces of the relationship, and a lot of times it's difficult because sometimes we have to, we should have always been doing this, but now we have to step beyond the physical. And by physical, I don't just mean the looks. I mean, as far as the aesthetic, like of, being an employer, employee, management, whatever the case may be, those things and those dynamics are different. People are different in different scenarios. You feel me? They're different in different environments. And as an entrepreneur, your relationship needs to be with someone who understands that. You don't necessarily have to be with someone who is an entrepreneur, but you need to understand and be with someone who understands what it's like to be in a relationship with an entrepreneur, and then the different levels and the varying expressions of the relationships of entrepreneurs, right? So I wanted to segue into that. Because that's an important piece, because I've been, asked that several times, like, how do you go about dating? What is dating like? What is the pool like? How do you maneuver and shit? And I will say it's different as an entrepreneur now. As an entrepreneur, it's different. It's a lot harder. Not impossible, but it's a lot more difficult because of the different dynamics that go into the type of people that want to be involved with entrepreneurs, right? So you have to learn how to start opening that. Well, I ain't gonna say opening that door, but starting to close the gap on the door and what can get in, and that'll start to help. But yeah, I'm gonna go into it heavy, in a little bit. But before we do that, be sure to check out my follow me on Instagram _just_sing_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSing.com to get all things that are just seen. If you like my books, So Frail 1, 2, and Hitting It Raw, Living a Raw Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life, you can get them at IamJustSing.com. If you would like to enroll in one of my courses, you can do so at IamJustSing.com. If you are looking to book a session or anything like that, you just want to chat on, anything and everything, you can do so at the website as well. To all who tip, sponsor, and donate, I greatly, 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 greatly appreciate you. You are appreciated. You are appreciated. And to anybody who would like to tip, sponsor, or donate to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the description of your podcast, not the link in the podcast, but the description of, not the link of this episode, but the description of your podcast. Cash App and PayPal is fine. Lastly, there's something else I was going to do. Oh, and if you enjoy this episode, if you enjoy previous episodes, be sure to share them with your friends, family, loved ones. And that's pretty much it. I ain't have a smooth transition for that part. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to dive into EntrepreNEGUS 7, relationships and dating. Or EntrepreNEGUS 7, dating and entrepreneur. EntrepreNEGUS 7, dating and relationships. What's your relationship today? Fuck it. EntrepreNEGUS 7 for real. EntrepreNEGUS 7, dating and relationships. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustSing.com. There, you can get all things Just Sing. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSing.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSing.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSing.com. You ever want to just chat with Sing about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSing.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSing.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustSing.com. All right, welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to dive straight into EntrepreNEGUS 7, dating and relationships. And this episode, I really, really want to include within the EntrepreNEGUS series because it's like we get so wrapped up in the entrepreneur part that we forget about the life, like the living, the part that is like, yo, hustle, 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 get this money, get this paper, get this, da, 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 da. You feel me? But you got to live. You got to have fun. You got to enjoy life. You got to still be able to do that because all work and no play drive a motherfucker crazy. You feel me? But anyway, when it comes to dating and, relationships within the entrepreneurial realm, it's different. All relationships and each individual niche that you're in is going to be different. But entrepreneurship is very, very different because it comes with other dynamics that now have to play into it. Okay. So you either have to be with somebody who is actively doing what you're doing or somebody who can relate and understand what you're doing. One thing that I grew up listening to and hearing all the time was opposites attract, right? Opposites attract and this, that, and the third. Entrepreneurship really, like in my relationships in my past, opposites attracted. It was cool. It didn't really, I was going to say it didn't really serve me no problem, but it kind of did. And we ain't together and they didn't work out. And when I say a relationship didn't work out, just because the relationship doesn't go on forever, doesn't mean it didn't work. All right, I'm speaking solely on the ones that didn't work. You feel me? But the ones that didn't work were because the opposites attracted. Because it was, we kind of fed into that cliche, opposites attract. And, opposites attract is a very good relationship builder when you don't know who you are. You dig what I'm saying? When you don't know who you are. Because at that point, what are you the opposite to? There's so many different sporadic things. And it's like, one thing that I've learned is that in those previous relationships prior to, seeking for a relationship and entrepreneurship as an entrepreneur, it's like opposites attracting is cool because it's like you're completely different. But I think with opposites attracting, it gets problematic because it's like, if you don't know who you are, what is your opposite? Not only that, if you do know who you are and you meet your opposite, what's going to eventually happen? You're going to neutralize yourself, right? We don't talk about that side of it too. When opposites attract, they neutralize each other. They make a net zero, no growth, nothing happens, nothing develops, right? So I've observed that in my first aspect of, life. Didn't start entrepreneurship until I was 25 or 26. So the first 25 years of my life, I'm pretty much, my dating scene is about opposites attracting. My dating scene is confined to the position that I was in. You feel what I'm saying? Complacency, normalcy, routine, and things of that nature. And it's cool. It's cool as a whole, but for the long run, that won't be beneficial carrying into an entrepreneurship lifestyle. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is why it's very important that you need to have somebody who understands you. So within the last 5 years, I kind of developed the mentality of looking at relationships like mind, like body, like soul. Like if opposites, because it's basic chemistry, pun intended. With chemistry, opposites attract and they're going to neutralize each other. If you take a base and you mix it with an acid, you get a water. Now, you won't get drinkable water. I mean, you get water in the sense that you get a neutral pH. You feel what I'm saying? You take a base of 14, mix it with an acid of 14, you're going to get a zero, a water, basically a neutral thing. So when opposites attract, that's what happens. That's what happens. Our relationships, and it's like we wonder why like our relationships be starting off so strong and so heavy. And it's like, bam, the next thing you know, it just the gap bridges. Oh, you changed, you done this, blah, 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 blah. It zeroes out. And nothing from nothing leaves nothing. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you're opposites to each other, you are going to have no growth. You're also going to have no regression, but you're also going to have no growth because you zero each other out. There's nothing to build on when there's nothing there. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing, right? So switching into the entrepreneur mentality, not on any funny shit, you can't have a relationship like that. The way in which the relationships that you have been involving yourself with, as college students, as high school students, as job workers, employees, and things of that nature, it's like you kind of start to lose. You kind of start to see the problem in it. You feel what I'm saying? You see the problem in it. And within the entrepreneur mentality, everything has to be continually going. You feel what I'm saying? Everything has to be continually going. So it's like you have a quandary where you're now focusing on, okay, do I continue to fuck with people who are more stable, or do I continue to fuck with people who are more volatile? And I mean that in the sense of entrepreneurship, because the volatility, because every entrepreneur is volatile until we get to a point of automation, until we get to a point of stability and foundation. Then it's like, okay, now we scale, whatever the case may be, but it starts off volatile in your beginning phases. If you're going to be dealing with somebody who wants to be an entrepreneur, you feel what I'm saying? If you're wanting to deal with somebody who's an entrepreneur, or if you're an entrepreneur wanting to deal with what needs to be understood is that there's going to be a constant change, constant evolution. Everybody says they love the shit. Everybody's like, if we're not growing, we got to grow together. We got to grow. In a relationship with an entrepreneur, you're going to grow a lot faster than you would in a normal relationship. Not on any funny shit. And the reason being for that is because there is no complacency in the mind of an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? There's no complacency. It's always the next level. It's always, let's go to the next phase. It's always, let's go to the next phase. So you feel me? I've always followed, since I heard it, I follow the ideology that love is law, family is business. So if we come into a relationship, technically we're family. We're family without kids. You feel me? Let's keep it a buck. We're grown. You feel me? The moment you decide, okay, I want to be in a relationship with this person, y'all are married. Y'all are together. Y'all are a family unit. You just don't have kids, the ring, or whatever the legal standings are, but y'all are a familial unit. You dig what I'm saying? So it should be important that in this process, it's about growth. It's about growing, not staying complacent and stagnant. An entrepreneur does that. on a regular basis, right? So when we look at the entrepreneur perspective, one of the hardest things is like the dating scene is kind of difficult because what happens is entrepreneurs, it's hard for entrepreneurs to be together because they're doing entrepreneur shit. You feel what I'm saying? They have their own things and they can go days on end, naturally not even talking to their friends. So the relationship is already going to be hard. You feel what I'm saying? It's like motherfuckers got to be scheduled in on some other shit. You feel me? Relationships without entrepreneurs, so people just, okay, you work 9 to 5, you got that routine. It gets simple. You feel what I'm saying? It gets simple. And it's like, okay, what more is there? What more excitement is there that we can do? You feel what I'm saying? I've learned that people like artists and entrepreneurs, which are technically one and the same, but people like artists and entrepreneurs because of the freeness that they have. Not only that, but there's entrepreneurs, artists, you feel me, lyricists, writers and shit. They have an essence about themselves that they're doing shit. They're producing shit. They're like, people like producers. You feel what I'm saying? Humans like producers, right? Naturally. So when you see somebody producing results, you want to fuck with it, right? So here's where the one of the first battles has to come in when it comes to setting the intention as an entrepreneur for a relationship, right? Your significant other needs to be on the same space in some way, shape, or form. And when I say be in the same space, that means they need to be understanding of what the fuck it is you're doing. You feel me? Now, it gets tricky because some people have been together for a long period of time and then they're, entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be. Then they become entrepreneurs and it's like, now shit is going to change if that person isn't willing to keep up with you. You feel me? Shit is really going to change. It's going to be problematic if that person isn't willing to keep up with you. I know women and men who are in relationships with people who they're making the progress. They're like, yeah, we've been together for this amount of time. And now I'm ready to do more. Now they don't want to do it. And you feel like you stuck. Yeah. That's the relationship was good, but you got to realize this perspective. The person that you were dealing with at the time, you guys may be compatible as what you were compatible for. Y'all may not be compatible in the entrepreneur realm. Y'all may not be compatible in that. You know what I'm saying? So you need to dictate that and start to express what it is that you're looking for. Now, the sad part about entrepreneurship and dating and being in a relationship as an entrepreneur, if that person doesn't understand that, you're liable to outgrow them. You're liable to outgrow them and get to a point where you can't fuck with them anymore. You feel me? Because their inability to be motivated, their inability to do the things you need to do, like their complacency is comfortable for them and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with it. They put in their work to get the good degree, get the good job and do all of these things and they're sitting there. They're cool. You want more. You're not going to get the more that you want with them unless you guys make some kind of consistency. Like I've seen the successful ones where you had the entrepreneur with the employee, and the employee was funding the entrepreneur's ventures. The entrepreneur was taking the profits and then reciprocating it back. And they made the synergy together. It's like, yo, that's your shit. I don't want to be an entrepreneur. You feel me? But I still want to be with you and I respect where you stand. So I'm going to fuck with that. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, I don't want to be an employee anymore, but I understand the principles of it and we bring them together. Then you have those different aspects that come into it. So it's like those things have to be considered when you're starting to date as an entrepreneur. Like we're at this age, we should be serious about, the intentions that we're actually being involved with somebody with. Cute shit don't work no more. Just being cute don't work anymore. Like it don't work no more. It just don't work anymore. So it's like, yo, you're no longer attracted to people off of the physical at a certain point. And the entrepreneurship mentality when it starts to trickle into your relationships, you start to see every relationship the same way you see your businesses, the same way you see your bags, the same way you see the things that you got to secure. I'm not getting into it to fuck up. I'm getting into it to get better at it. You dig what I'm saying? And you cannot be in a relationship with somebody who just wants to be in a relationship. You feel me? You're going to suffer. And that's what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs and shit. Especially those who are new into the entrepreneurship. You still want to, I want to talk to this type of person. I want to talk to this type of person. And it's going to slow you down. And it's not going to be anything that can work with you going forward. Right? Because you have to, like I said, people like productivity. But in addition to liking productivity, people that are producing shit, you have to understand that they're really seeing the productivity. You feel what I'm saying? Some people like to be affiliated with busy and productive people. You feel what I'm saying? They like to be affiliated with it, but they don't like to contribute. But they can't themselves necessarily be busy and productive. They just like to be affiliated with it. You feel what I'm saying? These are some lessons that I've learned along the journey of my entrepreneurship. You feel me? Because at some point I had to realize that even though these women were physically attractive, even though these women were women that I could be with, I realized that we were in different spaces. You feel me? I was already I was in the moment when I met a lot of women within the last 5 years, I was segueing. So I was in a position where I'm trying to get out of my job, but I understood and I still respected that work. I still respect people that have jobs and they still work, but I had to start to maneuver accordingly. Like I could no longer interact with people who didn't have a side hustle. It's like literally like as you're transitioning out, you start to see people transition in the same way and they have a different drive. You feel me? Cole said it on Nobody's Perfect. He said, now that I'm on, I got shit to lose. Only fuck with those that got shit to lose. That is some real shit. As an entrepreneur, that should be your staple when you're looking to date. Only fuck with people who got shit to lose. You feel what I'm saying? Only fuck with people that got shit to lose. And that's where a lot of times the battle comes in, because you'll meet people with nothing to lose who still like to be attached to productivity and busy motherfuckers and shit. You feel me? One thing you got to really learn not to do as an entrepreneur is not allow your ego to be inflated when you're going to be dating, because people are like, oh yeah, you work so hard, you work so this, that, and the third. And it's like, yo, that shit can get to you. Don't break that. Don't break that. You will start to see over time that the person, you just don't have time for me. You don't have time. Like, you need to create it. Like, if you're dealing with somebody who's handling their business and you feel like they don't have time for you, the time that they're able to get, like they don't have enough time for you, right? The time that they're able to still give you, right? Take that for what it is. But in the time they can't give you, that's just free time for you, fill that shit up. Fill that shit up. At this point, I'm talking to the people that want to be in relationships with entrepreneurs. You feel what I'm saying? I'm gonna go back and forth between, but those who want to be in relationships with entrepreneurs, you can't just think you're just gonna be there. Please, please, please get out of that mentality that you're just going to be there. Oh yeah, I'm gonna support, I'm gonna do this. There comes a certain level when support is not enough. Just like in a regular relationship, there comes a point when love is not enough. In a relationship, when you're dating an entrepreneur, support is not enough. There comes a point when support is not enough and I need my teammate. You feel me? I need my teammate. Imagine when you have 2 star players on the team, right? And one of the star players gets hurt. You feel me? And now the team is not putting up the numbers that they're supposed to be putting up collectively because the second number 2 is gone. But the number 2 is from the bench rooting on, saying, yo, you can do this, man. I got you. I'm supporting you. You're like, yo, y'all got this. Y'all got this. You can do that, but we still need your physical action in order to win. You dig what I'm saying? So it's not just about supporting. These relationships aren't just about supporting at that point. That sounds good. It sounds good, yo. Be my motivation. Be my this, that, and the third. Nah. As an entrepreneur, motivation is just my personal perspective, and from a lot of the people that I've spoken with, the best motivation you can have is action of the person that you fucking with. That shit drives you more. Like the people, like this is why when you make a team, when you get into your team, it's everybody's productive and we're feeding off each other. You can't be in a relationship with a motherfucker who's comfortable with complacency. You feel what I'm saying? And if you're comfortable with complacency, if you're in that space where you're used to, you're trying to be in that perspective, it's going to be difficult for you to be with an entrepreneur. Because you're trying to wrap your reality around the position you're in and not the position they're in. And vice versa. You can't be in one mental position trying to go backwards to another one that you left. You feel what I'm saying? It's not going to work. This doesn't say that those people are fucked up. This doesn't say that those people are assholes. This doesn't say those people are evil. But you have to realize what position you're playing, what position you want to play, and what position you're going to play, and if they can be in the same space with you when you get there. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is. But you feel me? It's a matter of are you willing to understand each other's mentality. Because like I said, people get so caught up in the busy and productive mentality, you know. When it comes to like motherfuckers that are handling shit, it's like, yo, I want to fuck with them to get shit done. But you know, there's two dynamics to it. Are you dealing with somebody who's busy, or are you dealing with somebody who's productive? Or both. Busy being productive. You feel what I'm saying? Here's what I mean by that. Because in the initial phases, and I talked about this a little bit in So Frail, when I talked about the alpha, betas, and epsilon. This right here is pretty much an alpha and the beta thing, principally. Not necessarily men or women, but this is the alpha and beta thing. So it's like, a lot of people like busy people. Oh, this person's busy. That means they're doing something, right? But are they productive with being busy? You don't know until you start to see the fruits of their realities. You feel me? And that's one of the hardest things about entrepreneurship dating, because everybody sees that you're busy, but nobody can really see the productivity because it's sporadic. It's like you can put in all of this work, you feel me, for 3 years for the boom to happen on the third year. You feel me? And a lot of people, because they're so used to instant gratification, entrepreneurship doesn't have instant gratification. So how can you be in a situation with somebody who's looking for instant gratification? You dig what I'm saying? Like when my journey started, I quit school. Like, you feel what I'm saying? I was in a master's program. I'm like, y'all know the story. I done said it so many times. But the people around me, they weren't entrepreneur minded. They weren't even built to be an entrepreneur. So it's like, they were like, so how are you, like, what are you doing? Like, how much money did you make this month? Did you, no, bro, like, give me time. Like, give me time. Like, they don't have that ability to appreciate that. You feel what I'm saying? So keep that in mind when you're dealing with relationships with people. You feel me? It sounds good when people meet you. Oh, you're busy. You got this, that, and the third. You got this, that, and the third going on. That they have to be able to understand that and respect it. Now they have to also be able to understand the productivity of it all, because the busyness and the productivity are totally different things, right? A lot of people get attracted to the busy side of the entrepreneur mentality, right? And they want to stay with that, right? But then the productive side, they don't want to keep up with. See, productivity and business is totally different things. Being busy is just like, you're just doing shit. You got a lot of shit going on. But see, when you're productive, after you finish one thing, it's to the next one. After this thing, it's to the next one. After this thing, it's to the next one. You start to pattern your life like that. See, one thing, like when it comes to success at anything, what you become successful at is because you infuse that into every aspect of your life. As simple as it seems. This is just one of the easiest ways I can put it. When we're watching kids grow up to be basketball players, you feel what I'm saying? Or even football players. Like periodically, just in normal conversation in life, normal movements in life, they start doing the moves. Like basketball players, when they had a Gatorade bottle or some shit in the classroom, they'll shoot it in the trash can because it's what they always do. But it's deeper than that, because all of the things that they're learning and infusing within their main system, their main craft, they are using in every aspect of their life. You dig what I'm saying? It starts to trickle into every aspect of your life, because that's where your excellence comes in. That's how you succeed. You learn how to do it in all facets of your life. You feel what I'm saying? So that's where the productive side comes in. So when you're in a relationship, or you're attempting to be in a relationship, right? And let's use the other side now. Let's say you are the entrepreneur trying to be in a relationship with somebody who's not. What are they in there for? Are they fucking with you because you're busy? Are they fucking with you because you're productive? You feel me? Can they fuck with you after the productivity has been set? Because are you meeting this person and literally this is the only window y'all have to fuck with each other? You dig what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be funny or be rude or anything like that, but this is why I'm saying like mind, like body, like soul, because as an entrepreneur, you're elevating. Is this person willing to elevate too? Is this person willing to continue to grow and go to the next level, or is it going to be too much pressure on them? You feel me? You got to think about that shit too. That was something that really showed up for me within the last couple of situations that I was dealing with myself with. And this is no slight to any of those women. Had I not been an entrepreneur, had I not been doing the things that I was doing, trying to build like my brands and all of that shit over last, we probably would have been, I could have had solid, successful relationships with all of those women. The difficulty is that I was an entrepreneur. And where it got fucked up is because the lines got blurred, because they were wanting to get into it. And because a lot of like, I say that back in about 2016, maybe, that's when I really started like talking to women who were entrepreneur minded, like, yo, I want to do this, I want to do that too. And it kind of fucked me up because I was still in my new stage. I'm like, yo, well, this is what I'm doing too. I didn't realize that we had different mentalities. We had different entrepreneur mentalities. I was a productive entrepreneur as opposed to just being a busy one. You feel what I'm saying? And it's like, oh yeah, you got this going on, you got this going on. But then when shit starts, it keeps going. Like more shit starts to unfold, more shit starts to come out. It's like, because after I finish one task, I'm on to the next one. You feel me? I don't have to sit within this same task over and over again to make it look like I'm doing my thing. I do my thing and then I go do another thing and another thing and another thing. Because I don't know, it's just like what the creativity is bringing out. You dig what I'm saying? So within those relationships, it's like, because I started at, like, I'm still at the beginning. Like, I only had one book out at the time. Still trying to work up within the corporate side, trying to get promoted to the rank. So it's like, I get it. You feel me? They were already in the positions that they were working in, stable there for like 4, 5, 6 years. You know what I'm saying? 3, 4 years and shit. So they had longevity in the positions that they were in. But it's like, from the actual perspective, it was, oh, well, I need you to, you gonna come see me? I can't. You ain't never got to, you knew what I was getting into. You knew what I was on before this shit. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not a matter of me playing games or anything like that. It's like, yo, we gotta have patience. I got shit I gotta build. Like, I'm not doing this shit for fun. I don't do this shit to flex. I don't do this shit to play around. I do this shit for what I know and I envision within myself down the line. You feel what I'm saying? And those women, like I said, had I have not been an entrepreneur, we would have had good ass relationships. But there would have been no growth. There would have been no growth. You know, I got the utmost respect for those women. Those are, you know, beautiful souls and everything like that. But when I look at from the time we started talking to where we are now, it wouldn't make sense. It don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like in the position that I am right now, I would be making a mistake trying to talk to him now. Now I don't like there's something wrong with him, but this is how we have to start to think about relationships. You feel what I'm saying? Can you add to me? You feel what I'm saying? Can you add to me? I have the capacity to do the things that I want to do now. Versus, you know what I mean, the capacity I was in when I didn't have this luxury and shit. So from the time I started to where I am now, I've completely grown. Almost exponentially if you really put it down on paper. But then it's like those women are still kind of linear. They're still in the same position. It's like, in my mind, I'm like, how? You know, initially I was like, yo, how? You had dope ass ideas. You had this, you had that, you had this, you had that. And then I realized the relationships weren't compatible. This is why I was talking about EntrepreNEGUS 6 with the big fish, because now it's starting to now ties into your relationships. Because it sounds good. It sounds real good to want to be in a relationship with somebody who has the drive and thinks that they want to do some shit. But then can they really do it is the question. And another thing that gets us is that as an entrepreneur, when we're seeing another entrepreneur, we're working together and we see them making progress, sometimes that progress that we make is that they make it solely because we're in the picture. Not because they're actually doing it. And that fucks up the line, because it's like, how long will I stay in this situation? How long were you willing to stay in the situation or stay dealing with this person under the guise that they're doing right when they're only doing right because you're in the picture? You dig what I'm saying? This was something that I learned when I was in undergrad. I had this girlfriend, and this semester, like, you feel me? I was trying to maintain a 4.0. I would have graduated with a 4.0. You feel me? Influenza biology. If I would have kept I would have graduated 3.9 because my freshman year, first semester, shit, I got a B on one of my courses because I forgot to do the assignment because it was the finals. It was the last day I did the final, but we still had this one assignment, and I fucked around and class was done. So I smoked off and forgot about it. And it was like midnight when the shit was due. And I think I missed the A by 1 point. I just had one assignment. So I was like, yo, fuck it. But anywho, the point that I'm making with that is that this individual person, like, I was a natural, you know, I like learning. I like not only learning, but sharpening my mental skills too. I like doing that shit. It's not a problem for me. So this person just liked smart people, but didn't really like doing smart shit. So it's like, this now tying into the full theme of this. Like, you can't want to be with somebody without doing the shit that they want to do. You feel me? So it's like one semester, like I'm keeping my grades up. So this person, I'm putting into, I'm like, look, yo, you can do this. Like, trying to pour into them and shit like this. You should, on some real shit, a motherfucker only needs motivation one time if they're really going to be motivated. On some real shit, a motherfucker only needs to be inspired one time to do the shit. You feel me? You don't need continual inspiration for the thing that you want to do. Because see, you got to think about a breath. Inspire comes from spirit. Spirit, all of those words lead back to breath. In and out, the rhythm, right? You feel what I'm saying? So when people are inspired, that means that they have taken something in, right? You don't need to take in anymore. You need to start to figure out how the fuck you need to do this. So now you can expire and inspire more and keep going back and forth. But I'm using that as an example because if you only need to be motivated one time. You should only have to motivate a motherfucker one time if they're serious about this shit. You should only have to inspire them one time if they're serious about their shit. So it's like this particular person, it's like we're studying, like this little semester, I'm like, yo, you can do this, yo, you can pull off a 4.0, you can do this shit. So I'm making sure every day I was in a room, we studying, we have special moments where we just look, bam, put down the shit, turn the TVs off, we studying, we doing all this shit. And it's like that she graduated, no, she didn't graduate. She finished that semester with a 4.0. I fucked around and because I kept putting so much energy into her, but I'm like this is who I'm fucking with. This is who I'm really with. Like, I see the bigger picture. Any relationship I get in, I see it for the longevity. So I'm willing to pour into this motherfucker, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take that hit. You feel me? So I got that semester, I got an A, 3 Bs and a C, right? So I think what that put my GPA down to like a 3.6 or some shit. GPAs are hard as fuck to pull back up, bruh. If I would have known that shit, you feel me? If I would have known that shit, I would never sacrifice shit. You feel me? I know I should have known, but in high school, prior to that shit, if the grades were already set, you don't really pay attention to falling grades. It don't count. It don't matter. Like, you feel me? So it's like, but it's different in college and shit. I'm like, nigga, bruh, like, now we got different credit levels and shit. So it's like, that shit dropped me down to like a 3.63 or whatever. I had a 3.63 after that. You feel me? She got her 4.0 that semester. I'm like, cool. That very next semester, she dropped back down and failed and started doing. I'm like, you pretty much spit in my face with that. Like, you feel what I'm saying? You spit in my face like with that. It's like, I put all of this attention into you and I invested in you and your investment gave me no ROI because you didn't keep it up. You feel me? And that's when I started to realize you only have to motivate a person one time if they're really going to do what they're going to do. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSing.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Oh yeah, and don't forget, while I still got you, you can use promo code QUARANTINE to save over 90% off of the enrollment of the full price of the course. That is QUARANTINE, QUARANTEEN. Other than that, you're holding their hand. So now, that now segued into, my entrepreneurship side. Because with my entrepreneurship side, it's like I'm dealing with women who I want to be an entrepreneur too. It's different when people just want to do something. It's different when people are doing something. You feel me? But because I was in that phase where I was just starting, I gave a pass. I'm like, oh, well, I'm new to this shit too. I'm new to this. You feel me? I'm new to this. So let's see how we can work together with this. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like they will be I would tell them an idea. Well, they'll tell me, okay, I got this idea of what I want to do. Cool. I'll push them to do the shit. They'll crumble under the pressure. It's like, how? Like, I could, man, yo, I would knock this shit the fuck out right now. It hit me. We're not the same. And we're trying to have a relationship with people who don't have the same mentality we have. An entrepreneur mindset has to be infused in every aspect of your life. You can't just be an entrepreneurship when it's time, an entrepreneur mentality when it's time to get money. Everything is strategic and calculated. I didn't realize how strategic and calculated I was until I started to really become an entrepreneur, because women were like, yo, I'm gonna do this at this particular moment, do this at this particular moment. Like, I've had women call me robots. I've had women, say these certain things, but it's like, when I look at where the split happened, it's like, you feel me? I got much respect for you. You feel me? You still my homie. You still my ace. I can still fucks with you, but I couldn't. I see now why we couldn't be together, because we were not on the same perspective as far as business wise. You feel me? And because of the space that I was in, they wanted to be, you feel me? Oh, he's always doing something. He hustling. He this, he that, he this, that, and the third, and whatever the case may be. It sounds good till you have to be a part of it. Like when you're in a relationship with a motherfucker, you just can't witness the shit that they do. You're a part of it. Can you be? Can you be? You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I'm getting back into the part of the busy versus the productive and shit, because then it's like, when you dealing with a busy person, it's like, cool, they might be busy around a certain thing, but see, a productive person switches that perspective. Busy people change a lot. Productive people evolve, right? There's a battle between change versus evolution. Everybody talks about they want to grow. Everybody talks about they want to do better, but there's certain points in life that you can't go backwards from. Once you reach that pinnacle, you cannot go backwards. That is evolution. You dig what I'm saying? When you step into the entrepreneurship realm and you start seeing results, you start having success, and you start doing and you start to expand the brands that you're dealing with and shit, and you start to move forward, you be like, oh shit, bruh. Shit's different. I can't go back to the old way of thought. I can't go back to the old way of action. I can't go back to the old way of being, right? So now you're wanting to involve yourself with people who want to come up to that point. You feel me? You have to realize, I have to see you get to your point before I can really fuck with you like that. Like I said, I tell this story frequently. I still know my homegirl, like, you feel me? She's still sitting on this $1 billion idea. And I still ain't seen the shit cash out yet. Like, bro, like, this is 2020. We had this conversation in 2017. And it's like, damn, like, why? You feel what I'm saying? But now when I look back, it's like, oh, man, that lesson was for me. That lesson was for me. Because sometimes you can get, this right here is going to be a little arrogant. Only to the people who don't have the confidence that I'm about to talk about right now. But it gets to a point where, you feel me? You have to accept that you're out of the league of some of the shit that you're trying to fuck with. Okay? That's for my entrepreneurs who are trying to date part. You have to accept that you are out of the league of the shit that you might be trying to fuck with. That's why it's like, you got to look beyond the motherfucker being cute. You got to look beyond it. At some point, you're going to have to start to look beyond a whole bunch of shit and be like, well, what is it that we can work together? Like, where's your shit at? Because if not, they're gonna stop you. You feel me? They can literally stop you from achieving certain things. Like, a lot of the things that I could have had done within a certain time frame, I had to put off because I was dealing with somebody who I was like, I don't want to leave you. And that's the difference between a productive person. You feel me? You guilt yourself into a relationship with people where you don't want to, like, you elevate and you move and transform and evolve at a different level than other people. Start to pay attention to how you evolving with these people. Sometimes, like, you got to realize that patience and time don't need to run together. And then, speaking of patience, a huge part of patience is gauging when time has expired. You're waiting at that point. After you have identified the point, oh, well, we might not be able to go. I'm going to wait for you to catch up. No, some people can be so far behind that they can't catch up. And a lot of times we think we get into these situations where we're involving ourselves with somebody. And we think because we're meeting at the same position the same displacement that we've gone the same distance, and we haven't. We haven't. That was a big wake-up call for me. You know, I use that metaphor all the time, the difference between distance and displacement. Like, displacement is just moving from point A to point B, right? Distance is going all through and everything accumulated and calculated from point A to point B. You dig what I'm saying? So when I'm looking at it from that perspective, I'm like, all right, bet. How am I going to maneuver this? How am I going to work this? Because now I have to consider, is this person able to be there? Is this person supposed to fucking be there? You feel what I'm saying? Can this person keep up? So I'm like dealing with situations where it's like on paper, it seems like it's good because we're just in different points of the race. We're just in different points of the race. So it's like, if I've already, like, we are about to take off running, right? It looks like we're about to take off running. You feel me? You may have saw me sitting down a little bit, but then now it's like we meet up at the track and you're like, I've never seen this person before. It's like, I've seen you. You just didn't know you were looking at me. But it's like, bam, you get ready to take off and now you're running. And now because you guys are running on the same place right now, y'all, they're under the guise like, you know what? I'm with you. Okay. And then you start to see them drop off, get slower. You still maintaining your pace. And they're wondering how you're doing this shit. Because this isn't my first lap like it's your first lap. I'm 20 laps in. I was just taking a break. This is 21 for me. This is one for you. We're in two totally different leagues. And it's okay to acknowledge that shit. You feel me? Because now imagine you are 21 laps in. And the person said, just wait for me to catch up. Just wait for me. Give me, let me catch up. You feel me? You're looking at it like, bam, okay, you're only like 5 feet behind me. I'll slow down a little bit. And you think it's 5 feet when it's 20 laps. You dig what I'm saying? It's 20 laps. The degrees of separation are crazy. You dig what I'm saying? They're crazy. So as an entrepreneur, you need to be able to start to prepare for that. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of entrepreneurship is action-based. It's not just planning. It's not just talking about shit. There's a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who are like, I want to have my own money. I want to do this, but there's not much action behind it. Like, trust me, like I've not trust me, but I've been in situations where the relationships didn't work because it's like, oh, you just starting? Okay, I'll be patient with you. I've been doing this shit for a while, but I've been doing it patiently. Let me see how fast you can move. Because at that point now it's like, oh, you can't rush my process and you can't slow mine down. How about that? How are we going to look at it like that? Like, people that just get into the shit will look at it and say, yo, you can't rush my process. You're right. I'm not rushing your process, but you can't slow down the momentum that I already got. Is that fair to me? No, that's not fair to me. My momentum has already been set. My snowball moves by itself. You're trying to get your snowball off the ground and you want me to get it off the ground. And then you want me to say, hey, yo, my snowball is still going. Now I got to help you push yours. That's not fair because now I have to take away from my own snowball. I have to take away from my own momentum. You feel what I'm saying? And that's where the biggest problem is. You dig what I'm saying? That's where the biggest problem is when it comes to the relationships, because now everybody's like, okay, well, everybody can see the bigger picture. When people look at somebody and say, oh, he's going to be an entrepreneur, she's going to be an entrepreneur, they're going to be this, I want to tag onto that because they see the end. But they don't want to deal with the in-between. You feel me? They can't deal with the in-between. Y'all not even in the same bracket to be dealing with the in-between. And while you're in between, they can keep you from your final point because they are not built for what you're supposed to be going with. You feel what I'm saying? Like, my examples are I knew a woman who said she wanted to open her own school. Cool. I'm sending her all of the information. Bam, bam, open your shit like that. You need to do this. You need to do this. You need to do that. Right? She gets into a situation where she, her and her supervisor, whatever the case may be. But I'm like this, when you reach that level where you're assistant to your supervisor, you're kind of on the same par. Only thing separating y'all is experience, but y'all are pretty much on the same level. So it's like, she telling me she wants to do all of these things, and then she goes to in a position to do it, and then she doesn't like the way the person spoke to her. And so she just gave up. I'm like, all right, cool, X that out. I can't be with somebody who's gonna quit like that. You feel me? She was very heated with me because it was like, yo, like, I'm like, yo, how? Like, my mental space was like, yo, you're older than me. I should not be ahead of you. You feel me? I'm not just like financially or whatever the case may be, but I mean like in the sense that you're older than me and you're just now deciding you want to be an entrepreneur. Now, mind you, it's not a couple years. It's almost a whole decade. Like our age is different. And I'm like, that should, change. Like, and that put shit into my perspective because I was always like, maybe I should just deal with older women. It's not dealing with older women. It's not dealing with it's dealing with people who are in line with what you're in line with. It's that simple. You can find people your age to do that shit. I didn't believe I could, but you can. You feel me? And I had to start to change that perspective. But you have to start getting to the point where you're accepting that if I'm going to be dating, I'm going like this needs to be understood. This is what can't be deviated from. You feel what I'm saying? This can't be deviated from. My biggest problem was that when I looked at relationships, I was like, yo, why the fuck am I not like, I'm getting with dope people. We rocking the shit, but it's just not working because I realized that we have different outlooks. Time and patience are two different things that if they don't coincide with each other, it's going to be problematic. So how I'm looking at it like this is like, they didn't have the patience and I didn't have the time they needed. They didn't have the patience I needed and I didn't have the time they needed. You dig what I'm saying? Because I'm now looking at it from a perspective of, if this person was truly an entrepreneur, we already would have been good. This person wasn't an entrepreneur already. This person was somebody who had the thought of becoming an entrepreneur and wanted to have all these things, but never really took the steps to do the shit. So it's like, yeah, they are under the premise that when things don't happen a certain way today, that you know what I'm saying? Like something's like, nah, they're not under that. They're used to the routine and consistency. Okay, if input, output, everything happens this is that way. It's different for me as an entrepreneur. You feel what I'm saying? So I need a little bit more patience with the shit that I'm doing, but it's like I didn't have the time for a lot of them, right? But again, they weren't in that entrepreneur space. They wanted to be around the shit. Oh, you a boss? You gonna be this? You gonna be that? You gonna be this? And I realized, motherfuckers just want to spend your money. I'm not calling them women gold diggers or anything like that. But here's what I mean by that: it's that they didn't want to really, like, I was going to be the leveraging point. It really wasn't going to be much reciprocity. When I look back onto the situation, like I said, those are very beautiful women, very great women. But when it all broke down and when I looked at what the only commonality that we would have been able to connect on and stay consistent with, if we would have been able to do that, would have been sex. Because our levels and the entrepreneur, like we weren't like mind, like body, like soul. It was different. You feel me? And it was like, because I had come from their perspective and went into mine, I can go back to theirs, but they necessarily wasn't coming. It goes back to the track thing. I can slow down to the person 5 feet behind me, but can they catch up to the 20 laps? But to the 20 laps I've already ran. As fast as I can slow down to their point. You see what I'm saying? That's how these relationships have to be looked at, because now what happens is when we meet the people who are not in these same positions, who are not in these actual entrepreneurship positions, they just want to be here. Now we got to deal with intimidating motherfuckers. You feel me? You are not intimidating. They are intimidated. I'm going to say that again. You're not intimidating to them. You're not intimidating as a person. They are intimidated by you. You'll never have a successful relationship like that. You feel what I'm saying? I can't speak for what the sisters go through as entrepreneurs. You feel me? I can only speak on what a lot of the brothers go through and what I went through as a man, as an entrepreneur and shit. Like, it's like, you got to deal with, I talked to a couple sisters. They was like, well, dealing with the men is like, oh, you ain't gonna have time. Like, women give us that shit too. Women give us that shit too. Don't think it's something other than that. Because it's like, but it's different. As the entrepreneur is like, yo, I know that you're dealing with this woman. You're dealing with that woman. No, I'm dealing with my fucking bags. Like, yo, I barely got time for you. And you really think I'm going to try to juggle another one? The fuck? Like, sometimes you got to be logic with the shit, but then it's like, you can't even be involved in that space because that gives you negative energy. That gives you some energy you don't need. You feel what I'm saying? I probably, if I would have never had moments where I was talking to women, I probably would have been like a year ahead of where I am right now. But I wanted that shit. And I realized why I had to learn. I had to go through that in those moments because I had to realize, like, yo, you cannot be in a relationship with somebody who's not in line with what you're in line with. Fuck the astrology. Fuck the stars. Fuck the prayers and all of that shit. If they're not in line with you, because you might not be in line with yourself, but if they're not in line with you, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Within this time frame, it was religious women, it was spiritual women, it was all of them, all the different types of women you could think of, and the same outcome happened. That means it was me. What was it about me? I had to figure that shit out too. I was like, yo, so if I'm having the same outcome with all of these different women, what is it about me? It's the fact that I am trying to have an entrepreneur life with women who are not in that space. It's simple. It's really simple. It's not that difficult. You feel what I'm saying? So I had to start to look at it. Oh shit. And it made sense because it's like I had to then internalize my that I was trying to take the easy way out. If I'm dealing with women like who are necessarily not where I am, I could take my time. I could really pace myself. Although I didn't like pacing myself, I like to move it at the rate that I'm moving, but I don't have to necessarily put that effort in. You feel what I'm saying? Because I was dealing with women who were just getting started. I was like, oh shit, by the time she catch up, shit, I could wait. But I don't have that luxury. I didn't have that. Like, as an entrepreneur, you really don't have that luxury. So it's like the gap is just going to widen. That gap is going to widen. You feel what I'm saying? And you don't have enough patience for that widening gap. You feel what I'm saying? It'll fuck up a lot of the shit that you have going for yourself. A lot of shit that you have in motion. A lot of shit that you have purposely put into the world. You feel what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with that, keep that in mind. Like, are motherfuckers that you fucking with intimidated by you? You feel me? That fucks with you because now you have to realize you're not intimidating. They're intimidated. It's a different thing. You feel me? You can't help how another motherfucker responds to your shit, but you need to start to pay attention to that because all of the subtleties, all of this bullshit is there in the beginning. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, you get so wrapped up in your bags and doing the shit that you're doing, you don't pay attention to the simple shit. You dig what I'm saying? To the leagues, to finding out their exes and finding out the shit that they gone through in their past, they went through in their past and shit. Like, you feel what I'm saying? Like, a lot of the shit that happened to me as far as entrepreneur, like a lot of them women were rebounds. So it was like, it was cool for me. You feel me? I was the rebound and shit. They would just I was like, cool. While you get your shit together, heal and get over this dude, or whatever the case may be, I can finish my shit. By the time you healed and you got your shit together, I'll be on point with my shit, and then we could probably see what's up. You feel me? Nope. They couldn't have that. They didn't have the patience. They didn't even have the patience to heal themselves and take care of themselves like the way they were supposed to. So it's like, well, now I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to just avoid the problem. You can avoid the problem all you want to. It's going to keep coming back. You feel what I'm saying? So then it's like, bam, we split, we stopped talking or whatever the case may be. They in it with somebody else. We speak years, months down the line, and it's like, what happened with, oh, nah, we not together now. It just wasn't what, I know, like I told you, like, it's like, so how's everything going your way? Same pace and everything else. Oh, so you actually did, yeah, I did that shit. I told you I was going to do it. You feel what I'm saying? But now you have to start worrying about I kind of skipped all the way over this, but this is the alpha beta thing that I was talking about, like, from So For Real, like, alphas are like, they only talk about what they've done and what they're going to do. Betas talk about what they're going to do and what they want to do. I ain't going to talk about epsilons. We're just going to talk about alphas and betas. You got to realize what type of person you're dealing with. You feel me? Everything that I've spoken, everything that I've said, and I hate to be that person. Cause they be like, y'all know your exes are probably kicking themselves for whatever. My exes is probably living a fucking best life. You feel me? They probably traveling beaches and shit, getting their yoni ate somewhere. I don't know. You feel me? But I don't want to be, I'm not that person who's like, yo, they probably kicking themselves or whatever the case may be. I don't know what the fuck they doing. You feel me? I don't know what the fuck they doing. I really don't care what the fuck they doing. But it's like when we get caught up into that reality of people hyping us and telling us shit like that, like, no. And nullify that shit so your ego doesn't get boosted. Because it's like, people look at the entrepreneur shit and they forget that I still could not be available for them women. Like, that's why I tell her, like, they didn't have enough time for me. They didn't have enough patience for me, and I didn't have enough time for them. That shit ain't gonna work. That shit ain't gonna work. But at the same time, I should have been fucking with people like that. Because now that I'm starting to, connect and vibe with more entrepreneurs and shit, we literally go days, not on the days without talking and shit, but you feel what I'm saying? Like, it is days. Like 2 to 3 days in the talking phase, in the initial phase, as we're developing. You feel what I'm saying? It went from dealing with the type of women who, I gotta talk to you every single day. Shit, you gonna be. And my fuck up was that I would try to cater to that and still talk to them every day. And it would take away from the quality of the shit that I was putting into my own businesses. You feel what I'm saying? So I had to learn that, like, yo, I can't talk to people who are just like, I have to now, you have to move with the level you're in. You have to move with the level you're in. If you're in a profitable level on your entrepreneurship journey, don't fuck with people that are still struggling to be profitable. Unless you're like their coach, their guide, their mentor, some shit like that. But don't cross the line. This is why I always tell people, not just in the physical realm, but in the spiritual realm too, students are not supposed to fuck their teachers. And teachers aren't supposed to fuck their students. We fuck that shit up because a lot of motherfuckers come into this space as students to learn from us, to be guided by us. And that was my fuck up. I ain't even gonna hold you. Now I look back in hindsight, I was supposed to teach a lot of those women a lot of shit. I still taught them. I still helped them get to that point. But I realized that I should not have blurred the lines and actually started trying to date them. Because that wasn't what they were there for. You feel me? They were just physically attractive and shit. And that's how the universe does me. Like, you feel me? It's greatest strength and greatest weakness if I learn how to balance it. So when we put that into perspective, it's like, look at the relationships and why they're not working. They probably weren't working from the jump, but it's like an entrepreneur relationship is different from any other relationship you're going to be in. You feel me? Why? Because there's no routine. There's no complacency, and there's no set standard of what the day is going to be like tomorrow. You don't fucking know. You feel what I'm saying? So your life is built like that. And as opposed to living from I'm just going to wing it. Nah, you're still calculated. You're strategic. You're making sure you're on point every single day. You don't have the luxury to slip. As opposed to dealing with people who do have the luxury to slip. It's not going to work. So you need to be in a position where, as an entrepreneur, you need to start dating within that realm. And if you're already dating with somebody, you decide, hey, I want to become an entrepreneur, pay attention to this motherfucker. You feel me? I used to be on that type time. I just changes within this thought right here. I used to be on that type time. Was like, I'm not telling you to walk away from a motherfucker. If y'all been together for 7 years, right? And you want to be an entrepreneur for 6, and you haven't done anything in 7 years because of them, that's your fault. You gotta realize that you were supposed to let them go at year 2. Now I get it. You put in all that time, and you like, cool. Did you really put in time, or did you waste it? Because now it's like you're trying to do this hit and miss thing with things that you're doing. You don't get support. You don't get motivation. It's like, but at some point, that's not enough. You need somebody who's actively doing it for you. When people want to lose weight, when they want to have workout partner, they don't just do it by themselves. They get with somebody who's actively trying to lose weight. And what happens? They grow together. You feel me? Those couples where they have those, we worked out together. And then we got in shape together, and now we're here. We're like mind, like body, like soul. Now y'all see why I say this shit? I had a homie tell me, she was like, yo, your standards might be too strict if you living by like mind, like body, like soul. No, because that will always show me where I am in life. If my intention for a relationship is always calibrated towards like mind, like body, like soul, even from the entrepreneur perspective, right? So if I meet you and I don't like the place that you're in, that means I don't like the place that I'm in, and I need to keep going. Now, if I meet you and I don't like the place that you're in, but I still like you and I like where you're going, because I like where I'm going. If I like where you're going, regardless, and it's like I see you going there, I could fuck with you. Do you know why? Because we're in the same position and we're moving in the same trajectory. If you still don't know what you want to do, I'm sorry, I can't do that shit, bro. I can't do that shit no more. Like I was very compassionate. I was very lenient and shit. In the past, it's like, oh, you're not quite there. You're not quite where I am yet. Because it's like, I really had nowhere to be. I was really nowhere yet myself either. You feel what I'm saying? But now it's like, nah, bro, this shit ain't the same. And it's like, I can't just be with somebody who wants to do this shit, who wants to be a part of this. It doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. And then it's like I said, people get so wrapped up in what they want that they don't even know if they can be it or not. You feel what I'm saying? They don't even know they can be there now. So there's levels to the shit. When you're in your entrepreneurship journey as an entrepreneur, you feel me? Keep that in mind. Like mind, like soul, like body. You don't have to follow it. You don't have to adhere to it. I'm not saying you do, but you need to start to pay attention to your relationships like that. You really need to start paying attention to your relationships like that, because that is starting to show where things are going. You feel me? You ever been in a relationship with somebody for, like I said, that year's time in which I probably could have been ahead now? I was involved. I was vibing with two different women, not at the same time. Like it was like 3-4 months apart or whatever the case may be, but it was in the same calendar year and shit, right? Within me meeting them. So it's like within that time frame, it's like I'm giving them this side, and it's like, all right, we can't. There's nothing we can get out of this. I should have seen that from the beginning, but I didn't. I didn't want to, because I'm like, okay, well, I'm still at this perspective. I'm still here. And it's like, bro, you have to break out of that and realize that, yo, if this person is not serving me any good, I got to let them go. I got to let them go. And you know what I mean? You it's not necessarily about finding the good or the bad shit, but finding the position that you're in. As I'm starting to develop and grow and even expand, I'm starting to really see a lot more that a lot of the people, like when I have this like mind, like soul, like body mentality, it's like when it comes to that, meeting the right people, they fit. And then they just become a reflection of me, which makes it easier for me to do the shit that I need to do. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm looking at it like this. When it comes to your relationships, when you're actively, deciding, okay, I want to date as as an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be comfortable with that. Be comfortable with expressing that shit, and don't try to go for people who you think it's going to be easier because, okay, well, they work in a 9-to-5 or because they're this. Like, no, start going for the challenge. Start going for the people that may be that one step up above you, or that's on par with you, that can keep you sharp. Start dealing with that shit. You feel me? Because there's people that aren't going to keep you accountable just because you're doing one more thing than they're doing. You feel what I'm saying? One more thing that they're doing. I was dealing with a woman who, after I wrote my first book, she's like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Like, you have a book out or whatever the case may be. And it was just like, yo, I was selling copies and shit or whatever the case may be, but not a lot because I didn't have that know-how yet. And nobody was leading me to it. But then again, when I linked up with somebody who was like, and it's like, it goes from one perspective, because this one person is telling me, oh, that's dope. You got a book out. This other person telling me you ain't doing enough with your book yet. You could be doing this, that, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, right? That's the energy. That's the energy I should have been fucking with. And that's how that energy creates complacency, because it's like, oh, you just got something done. No, I still got more shit to do in regards to this. So keep that in mind, yo. Please keep that in mind, yo. Your relationship as an entrepreneur is very, very important, like dating and all of that shit, but it's about your time. It's about how well you can connect with this person, and you and the person need to be aligned. You know what I'm saying? We need to if we break out of the mentality of opposite attract and start getting into the mentality of like mind, like soul, like body, relationships as entrepreneurs will be very, very, very fruitful. And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now. All right, I'm going to go ahead and try to wrap it up here. I really wanted to have this conversation because, like, when you're dating in this entrepreneur life, it's like, and you're looking for a relationship, it's like, depending on how you're leveling up, you need to find somebody that's doing it with you, doing it at the same rate you're doing it in. Everybody isn't doing it. Everybody isn't in the same space. And it comes from knowing yourself, knowing where you are, knowing what positions you're in, and start to set that intention that I want somebody who's in my space. Like, now, are they like mind, like soul, like body, in the sense that it's somebody who you got to elevate to or elevate from or elevate with? You feel me? I feel like every relationship should be elevating. Like, at this point in my life, like, none of my I've learned that I cannot be in a relationship with a woman who is not entrepreneur minded. No, let me take that back. Who is not an entrepreneur. I've already passed the entrepreneur minded phase. So I can't be in that space anymore. You dig what I'm saying? Unless, like I said, she can show and prove that she's going to do certain things and move to a certain point. But it's like, if we're in different places, I can't do that anymore because I have to come back. You feel me? I have to come back. Now, if you're actively, okay, bam, you're on my heels, and bam, at any given moment, you could, like, that's different. I could fucks with that. You feel me? But it's like, looking at relationships, it taught me that. Like, you know, and that's from all relationship standpoints, not just entrepreneurship. I just happen to use this for this one. Like, if you're dating somebody, you're not religious and they're religious, something's gonna fuck up. If you're like mind, like soul, like body is a real reality. And it's a reality that must be acknowledged in your entrepreneur journey. You feel me? I myself, I couldn't do my entrepreneur. It took me years to learn that I couldn't be an entrepreneur. I couldn't be a starting entrepreneur and be in a relationship. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for me because I don't know now what I didn't know then what I know now. That I needed to be around people that were more like where I was at. You feel what I'm saying? I was so used to the, you know, because when you first start off the entrepreneur, you like the support. You like the motivation of, yeah, you did this, that, and the third. So when you're dealing with people who just hype you up, that shit feels good. You feel me? But then when you stop dealing with people, when you start to step into the realm of people who don't even give a fuck about compliments anymore, they don't even give a fuck about acknowledgement anymore because they don't need it. They don't necessarily need that validation. Yeah, you doing your entrepreneurship. I know I'm doing my entrepreneurship. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I don't just need the praise from it because my accounts are starting to show it. Like, it's different. It's different when you no longer need that shit. So now when you're dealing with somebody whose purpose, whose mentality thinks, I just have to give them the support. Nah, you got to give me action. It's levels. It's levels. I've dealt with so many women over my lifetime, and it's like each level, when I look back, each level of woman that I was successful with, they were on par with me at the level that I was at. Every woman that I was successful with, every woman that I had problems with, we shouldn't even been fucking with each other. I should not have been fucking with them. You dig what I'm saying? It's like, it's levels to the shit. So now I just apply that shit even now. And like I said, the reason why I apply it now, because it's like almost every entrepreneur that I fuck with, that I know, they're either single or they're with somebody who's equally successful as an entrepreneur. That's no accident. The motherfuckers that fuck with each other, like, it's like, I'm like, damn, they're like, yo, why y'all single? Why y'all don't work? And how y'all date this? Dating as an entrepreneur has to be changed. Like, we have to be able to date correctly. You dig what I'm saying? We have to date within our level. And if levels were never, if people act like levels weren't a thing, you know what I'm saying, at one point in time, cross over to the entrepreneurship realm, you'll see that a level is really a motherfucking thing. Like, it's literally levels to this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? No matter what phase of life you're in, it's levels to the shit. You're not going to be able to communicate and reach the people that you're not even close to. So how the fuck are we doing that shit with relationships? Think about that shit as an entrepreneur and shit. Like, there's somebody right now that you know, entrepreneur wise, that is close, like they're in where you want to be, but you don't have access to them. You're not going to be able to you can't reach them. You know why you can't reach them? Because it's levels. You're not on the level that will make you reachable in their radar. And that's fine. That's cool. That's why you build on the level that you want. You get up to their point till your idols become your rivals and shit like that. You feel me? Crazy shit like that. But we don't think that there's any difference between a relationship. Change that shit. Change that shit. That humble shit's getting y'all fucked up a lot. Y'all need to have the confidence and the bravado you're supposed to have based off of where the fuck you are. You feel what I'm saying? Based off where the fuck you are. It's okay. I get it. It's okay. Sometimes it's like, I don't want to get a big head. Well, sometimes you didn't get one. You just had one. And it's just, you got to take it for what it is. You feel what I'm saying? You get to a point where you start to settle. You get to a point where you start to get afraid of what you're supposed to be with. You dig what I'm saying? And as an entrepreneur, you cannot do that shit. Because if love is law, family is business. If family is the business, and you're dealing with people who don't want to run business with you, your business is going to fail. So if family is business, and you're dealing with people who don't want to handle the business correctly according to the family, what the fuck do you think is going to happen to the family? Pay attention to that shit. If you can't build a relationship with a solid motherfucker, a one-to-one individual, you feel me? Within our culture, we talk about nation building all the time. Oh, nation building, we got to have this, got to that. Before you can build a nation, you got to build the self. All right? You got to build yourself. From the self, you have to find somebody who's comparable to you and your significant other. Now, you two have to see if you can build cohesively. You feel me? From the self comes the relationship. From the relationship comes the family. From the family comes the community. From the community comes the nation. It's simple to do, but it starts with the self. Everybody want to skip the motherfucking self. Or talk like they're acting with the self and then project onto the other people what aspects they need to fix within themselves when they need to fix that shit within. You know what I'm saying? Not just point out, yo, we need to get our shit together. Like, no. When you start to operate at a certain frequency, you move into that frequency. And the motherfuckers not in that frequency, they fall the fuck off. And motherfuckers who are in there, so come in. Like I just said this in the post. I was like, it's only lonely at the top because you're afraid to befriend your equals. I put that in the jam session too. I might be dropping that soon, but it's lonely at the top when you're afraid to befriend your equals. That's where your problem is. Your relationships as an entrepreneur because you're not trying to involve yourself with your equals. You're trying to involve yourself with people who are high enough yet still below you in the level that you're in. So that way you can still feel good and not have to feel like you got to push and continue to be great. But again, that comes from dealing with the motivation of people. You feel me? Dealing with the motivation of people. Like I was dealing with it, like when I first started investing, I invested in, silver? I bought a silver ETF. And I was telling the woman that I was talking to at the time, just to tell her, like, it was regular time. I was like, yo, I just bought my first silver ETF. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. This is that and that. I'm like, the fuck you so happy for, nigga? I just bought an ETF, bro. And it's like, yo, I got to wait for it to appreciate in value. The fuck? It was written right there in plain sight. That wasn't a major accomplishment in her eyes. You feel me? But when I look back, she wasn't investing. She didn't do a lot of the things that I had learned that she had not done them. Now, this was before I learned the shit, but you feel me? She had not done them yet. So it's like, I'm taking chances. I'm doing things. It's like, yo, people like that, they'll hype you. It feels good. Don't get me wrong. It feels good. But at the same time, are you motivated by their words? The words that they tell you to motivate? Are you motivated by the action? I know so many people who told me, yo, I wrote a book just because you had one out. Dope. That means you chose to do something. You didn't just say, yo, I want to write a book now. I want to write. Like, I know people that after I wrote my first book, 4 years, I wrote my first book in 2016. They were like, yo, I want to publish my own poetry. I want to publish my own this. Do it. Do it. See, for like me, I can't dwell. Like once I get the idea to do some shit, I got to do it. Like I can't just sit there and dwell on it and put it off and say I can't do it. I'm going to figure the fuck out. I'm going to figure shit out. You feel what I'm saying? So now it's 2020 and I'm like, yo, where your book at? You still ain't wrote your book yet? Nah, I just ain't had time. Yeah, 4 fucking years. 4 years. 4 years. You feel what I'm saying? And that puts it into context because it's like from the time in which they said they was going to write the book to where they are now, it's like, yo, that's 4 years and shit. Well, I just didn't have time. Yo, you could literally wrote 1 page a day and had a 365 page book. 4 years, my nigga? You know how many pages that'll be? If you just did 1 page a day. See, people be thinking it's so much to it. But again, this goes into the mindset. Because now, these people, I'm like, yo, it sounds good to be on entrepreneurship. It sounds good to want to do it. But it's not good. Once you actually start to do it and you know, okay, I got to do this shit every fucking day differently. My mind I do not think the same every single day. Even if I'm doing the same things, even if I'm putting money into the same bags, even if I'm like, I have to approach each bag differently every single day. Every single day. You dig what I'm saying? Like we're approaching on the podcast. I think this should be episode 98. The 100th episode is coming. But 100 episodes, it's like, bruh, I had to do it. You dig what I'm saying? I had to fucking do it. Like I couldn't just wait and just do it when I want to. No, I gotta consistently keep going. I have my moments because I'm fucking human. Like, you feel me? Like y'all hearing this after a long gap because I was with my family for 2 weeks. You feel what I'm saying? And I wanted to give them undivided because for the last 5 years, I gave all my undivided attention to myself. So when my family calls and say, yo, we want to do this shit, yes, I'm there. I'm there. If other shit stops, fuck it. I don't care. Like I'm not tied up into that anymore because I've had to sacrifice so much for them. But it's like, yeah, I have my moments where I'm not consistent, but the point of it all is like, yo, you got to stay. If you serious about what you want to do, you got to show and prove. You got to show and prove daily, every single day. You feel what I'm saying? You have to. That's what this is about. So now when you set your entrepreneurship, when you set your relationship up as an entrepreneur, you have to look for somebody like that who's constantly doing things daily, who's constantly wanting to be. And if they're not in that space and they're like, okay, I'm comfortable not being like, they're comfortable not being and being an asset to your life the way that you want them to be, you can let them go. And so for the people on the other side who are looking to date entrepreneurs, you have to consider two major points when you're dealing with an entrepreneur, right? One, what position they're in. No. I'm gonna say that part later. All right. The two things you got, are they busy or are they productive? That's the first point. Those are the first things that you really got to do. And then two, are you intimidated by them? Are you intimidated by their presence? Like, if that's the case, leave them alone. If you're intimidated by somebody, leave them alone. If you want to do it, and you have to actively be doing kind of what you want to involve them with. Now, granted, I'm not saying everybody has to do the same type of business shit, but it's like, you need to be handling business the way they handling business if you want to be handling business. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, I can't be in a position where it's like, I'm running this many things in a week and you're struggling with one. There's nothing wrong with that, but go back to your level. That's cool. Go back to your level. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. You have to keep these things in mind because otherwise you get intimidated. Then you get overwhelmed because you're thinking, wow, I got to keep up with, you don't have to. I would like you to if you're going to stay here, but you don't have to. You feel what I'm saying? So for anybody who's looking to date somebody, you have to keep that in mind. Are they busy? Well, am I going to be intimidated by them? You feel me? If they shit already makes you feel like, oh, I got to start to do better. I got to start to do more. And it's not from a sense of just natural inspiration, but you feel like it's an obligation. You're not going to work. You're not going to work. If they just them doing them inspires you, cool. You can progress. Start to learn how to deal with that and be in that space. You feel what I'm saying? But if it just makes you feel like overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to keep up. Leave them alone. You're not going to keep up. That race is completely out of your level, and it's okay. It's okay. Get it. And I get it. We want that, we want that shit. Like I was telling I forgot who I was talking to. Fuck it. Anyway, but we was discussing about being deserving of something and being entitled to it. You feel me? A lot of motherfuckers think they're entitled to some shit they don't even deserve. You feel me? You can have a sense of entitlement and you don't deserve the shit. You feel me? You can feel like you deserve. No, I think I said that backwards. But I'm going to say it both ways because both ways still fit. You can be deserving of something too and not be entitled to have it. I like the second way better. You can be deserving of something and not be entitled to have it. You dig what I'm saying? Case in point, I'm going to use this as an example and I'm going to start to try to wrap this up. I dealt with a woman who tells me that she's used to, she has a string of men that have been doing her wrong, and then it is and third, and then we had the conversation. Well, then they always come back talking about, I can't find another woman like you. No, okay, cool. So that plants to see that she's a good woman. I'm not going to take that away from her. She's probably an excellent woman for that level of man, right? And so now when it switches and it flips, it changes because it's like, it's different. And I get it. Because of all of the shit that you put up with ain't shit motherfuckers, you feel like you deserve a good person. And you may be deserving of that, but you're not entitled to it. To be entitled to it means that you have already put in the work to qualify you to receive that. You dig what I'm saying? You can deserve it all day long, but are you entitled to it? You feel what I'm saying? Are you entitled to it? And sometimes, and because of that, that's why it go back and forth, because a lot of motherfuckers have a sense of entitlement for shit they don't even deserve. So keep that in mind. Like when you're trying to date somebody, like, yo, this is not a slight over superiority type shit. Like entrepreneurs are so dope. No, but keep shit in context. Cause this is how motherfuckers is getting fucked up. You feel what I'm saying? You want somebody who has a strong business acumen when you barely understand business. So you can be with them for what? What are you going to be with them for? What are you going to be in their space for? For the men and the women. What are you going to be in their space for when you can't even keep up with the shit that they're doing on a basic level? You're going to waste their time. It's okay to say, you know what? We're in two different spaces. I should not be fucking with somebody like you. And that's okay to say. That's okay to say. You feel what I'm saying? And as the entrepreneur, it's also okay to say, look, you know what? I'm not in the space to be fucking with you. Because where you are, I'm not quite there. And you can have those moments. You feel what I'm saying? But you got to get over that. Deal with that shit. And then, like I said, busy and productive. You feel what I'm saying? As somebody's looking to date an entrepreneur, you want to make sure you're looking for productive entrepreneurs. You know when an entrepreneur is productive. Shit gets done. They're not always doing shit. Not the same shit looped over and over and over and over and over and over again. Shit gets done in a sequence of motion and progress. And now you also have to have the patience to deal with that shit. You have to give them the time to get to where they're supposed to be if you're really going to fuck with them. All right. If you're really going to fuck with them, you have to give them the time to get to where they want to be. You feel what I'm saying? Otherwise, leave them alone. Don't try to rush them. It's not like a job. It's not like the regular 9-to-5 that they're working at. That was one of my fuck ups. You feel me? I'm dealing with women who's seeing me go from a basic valet to an account manager in a year's time. And then at the same time, seeing my entrepreneur side still go slow. I'm like, yo, it's different, bro. This is a plug and play thing. I just got to show up to work. You feel what I'm saying? It's different. So they wanted me to have that same type of speed with that. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to run 4 or 5 things at one time. I can't do this shit. Like, this is a job. I go in, show up, park cars, and leave. I don't have to do much. This, I got to learn advertising. I got to learn marketing. I got to learn branding. I got to learn so many different things before this shit is even solidified enough to be pushed. But I got to do it. So if you in that space, have the time. Have the time for the person. Give them the time that you want out of that. You feel me? Otherwise, leave them alone. You feel me? As the entrepreneur side, make sure that they're able to put the time. They're able to have the patience for the time you got to put in. If not, don't be stupid. Like we put ourselves through unnecessary stress for no reason. Because we want to be with somebody. We want to, I just want somebody around. And we this, oh, you just need this. You make me feel so good. Whatever. You can find somebody on your level that's making you feel good. But again, you can't be afraid to befriend your equals. That's the problem. It's only at the top because you want to continue to be at the top with motherfuckers that ain't even supposed to be at the top. You feel me? Befriend your equals that are up there and you start to expand and then build relationships off of that. All right. So I just kind of wanted to, I'm going to end it there. I just kind of want to touch upon that because like dating as an entrepreneur is very difficult. It's very difficult, especially when you're in that phase where you building your shit because I ain't got time for nobody. I can't talk to nobody, but I need somebody who needs that. But then it's like, do you deal with people who always got to have your attention? Like, are you going to be dealing with people like, no, you can't. It's like, yo, if it gets to a point where you ain't got no business to worry about other than mine, we got a problem. Like if we talk like, you feel me? Every 2 days, 3 days. And it's like the beginning, like I don't like lately, just this year alone, maybe in the last year and a half. Like my conversations haven't been getting that far because I've been locked in like a motherfucker. Like when I say locked in, I'm at the cusp of something dope, but I've been locked in on some shit. So it's like, you feel me? The relationships that I'm starting off with, it's like, yo, we talking, we vibe, you know what I'm saying? We see what's up. And then it just stopped. Oh, you ghosted me. I didn't ghost you. I also didn't come on to you. Let's tell the truth. I also didn't come on to you. So it's not on me to keep the conversation in the flame that I didn't approach you. You know what I'm saying? But I get it. I play the game. I move back and forth. But it's like, yo, people don't like when you're stuck in the moment, literally, you can have days go on before you realize the day is past. And then I'll be like, damn, bro, I ain't. I ain't hit shorty up in a minute. You feel me? But I've learned that in these recent times, like I know I either need to have all my shit mastered, or now I know I need to start to deal with women who are at the point that I am, entrepreneur wise. And they're at that point where it's like, yo, I got this, that, the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth in motion. So I'm not necessarily worried about you not talking to me on these particular times. Good, because I got this shit in motion. So I'm going to forget that I ain't talked to you in a few days. You feel what I'm saying? And we're still talking. Like, what I mean by that is like, we're in the talking phase. We haven't even dated yet. We still in that phase where it's like, oh, you do this, you do that. Yeah, I actively do this. Now you see this shit. You see this in motion. You see this in motion. It's like, oh, that's what you do. Okay, I fucks with it. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like, that's when you have to make the choice. And that's when, again, it goes between being busy and productive. So that's one of the quintessential pieces of all of this that ties everything together, the busy and productive part. Busy's cool. Seems like you're doing shit. Hamsters on a wheel are busy, right? Productive is when, though, you're able to get things done. Every single piece that you want to get done, it gets done and it stays there. You're not in an insane loop trying to figure shit out. You feel me? So date according to that. As an entrepreneur, date according to that reality. All right. Date according to being able to have a person who can understand your entrepreneurship, and you being understanding of a person not being involved in entrepreneurship if that's who you're going to deal with. You feel what I'm saying? That was one of the biggest quandaries, man, because it's motherfuckers that aren't in the same niche trying to fuck with each other. This is why motherfuckers cheat at work. Think about it. You were there with a motherfucker that's literally in the same space, field of study that you're in every day. And then you come home, you sleep for 8 hours, you work for 12. Well, I ain't gonna say 12, we're 10. You sleep for 8, you work for 10. That's 18 hours, right? It's 24 in a day. That's 6 left in a fucking day. You have 6 left, 6 days to build on the love and the growth and everything with your significant other, but you have 8 hours that you're building on with your quote unquote spouse, whatever the case may be. I mean, your work spouse, work hubby, and it's your work bae, all of that shit. Motherfuckers got them. Motherfuckers got them. Why? Because like mind, like soul, like body trumps all that shit. All that shit. Workplace and romance happen because everything is alike. It's simple. I don't have to fight too much. You feel what I'm saying? But now you got to be in a relationship the same way. Your physical relationship has to be that way. If I know that these are the things that I'm trying to go for, these are the things that I need to do. You feel me? I set myself up like this financially as far as my online courses, a lot of things, online, digital, and the marketing and all that shit. I set that up because I said I wanted to teach my children at home. I wanted to be I wanted not quote unquote a stay-at-home father. I wanted to homeschool my children. But I know money don't stop. Shit like that don't stop. And I'm not going to put myself in a position where I'm dependent upon my woman to make sure we straight. So I'm teaching the kids. Nah, this shit's going to be in motion. You feel what I'm saying? The shit's going to be in motion before I get into that space. There's little shit that you got to do to get that. When you hear motherfuckers talking about what the fuck they're going to do with their entrepreneurship journey, why they're in it, and they're doing it, pay attention. Because they're productive. You're starting to see shit. But if they just say, I'm going to do this shit and they're busy, well, now I got to tweak this. Well, I got to tweak this. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I want to change this. I want to change this. I want to change this. I had what my mama say? I had a goal, a dream, and a vision. Plan, plot, strategize, and executed it all. Now it's just a matter of letting time do its thing. You dig what I'm saying? And it's like when I talk to the women that I used to talk to when I first started this, they're like, yeah, so what are you doing now? Like, when I told them, it's funny shit. It's a funny comment. I'm like, yo, everything that I said I was going to do. So you finished? Yeah, I got one more book to write. Well, 2. No, one. I got one more. I might write another one. I got one more book to write. And then after I write that book, it is what it is. I have one more book to write, one more course to make. That course is going to be something simple. But so then I have 3 courses. I have 4 books. And I have, the podcast, the book. Everything is just, I learned how to put this shit in motion. So now when I decide I want kids, when I decide like these things have to pay attention, like pay attention to what part that entrepreneur person you fucking with, what is their why? What are they doing this shit for? If they're not actively if they don't have a why, chances are you're not fucking with an entrepreneur. If they don't have a distinct why, they're going to do something. Because after the why comes the how. When they know why they want to do something or why they have to do something, they're going to figure out how to make it happen. You feel me? They're going to figure out how to make it happen. I knew I was going to homeschool my kids. I knew I was going to be there, and that's what set the tone. So pay attention to that shit. Anybody in it for the money, y'all gonna have your limitations, because it's going to be all about the money. So what happens when the money stops? So the money has to shift and money has to change. I'm in a position now to change all of that. You feel me? So I don't want to get too rambly on that shit. Just make sure you focus on that. When you're dating as an entrepreneur, keep all of this shit in mind, bro, sis. Like mind, like soul, like body. That'll save you a world of trouble, wasted time, and fucked up effort. All right. Bask in that shit. Learn how to do that shit. Spend time with people. You feel me? Stop letting these impatient, complacent motherfuckers with nothing to life rush you into some shit. I have yet to see an entrepreneur rush into a relationship. That's crazy. But it's like, now I've seen the battle. It's like, we fuck with each other. Let's do this and third. Then they throw in the astrology and all of that shit. Oh, we're real compatible. No, the fuck we not. Nigga, like, we not compatible how are we, so incompatible if I'm doing something you're not doing or you finding incapable of doing? You're finding difficulty doing it, something that I find ease doing. All right. It's different. So pay attention to all of those things. All right. Pay attention to all of those things and truly, truly start to center your relationships around that. If you can. This ain't no relationship advice. I'm not telling everybody this, but it's like, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you need to be dating somebody that is an entrepreneur too. If you're going to be entrepreneur minded, you should be dating somebody who's entrepreneur minded. If you want to be employee minded, date somebody who's employee minded. Stop trying to blur the lines because of all of this opposites attract shit and motherfucker, we different. No, you need to be a lot alike the motherfucker that you fucking with. You feel me? You need to be a lot alike them. You feel me? Or find a way in which y'all can work and mesh together with your opposites attract and however the fuck y'all want to do this shit. I don't fucking know. But the point is, make sure that as entrepreneurs dating, because we're going to get back for the future EntrepreNEGUS Jones, we're going to get back into the shit. But this is important because I've noticed that this is the breaking point where a lot of entrepreneurs either sink or swim. Their relationship, who they're actively involved with. You feel me? They bring out a certain side of them and they help them move forward. So with that, I'm already rambling. It's getting long. Be sure to kiss your babies. But be sure to follow me on Instagram, _just_sing_. Be sure to check out my website, IamJustSing.com. Be sure to make sure you kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And make sure if they're going to become entrepreneurs, they ain't even got to be entrepreneurs. You can apply this to life as a whole. You feel me? The motherfuckers that if you want a successful relationship with a motherfucker, get with a motherfucker that's like you. It's simple. If you don't like a relationship with a motherfucker that's like you, then you don't like yourself. That's a problem that you got to fix first. And no relationship is going to be successful for you if you don't even like yourself. You dig what I'm saying? So let's get out of that. So with that being said, teach that to your babies. Like when it comes to the dating shit, like make sure the motherfucker is like them. Like you're able to be comfortable with yourself. Because if you're seeking that opposites attracting shit, you're looking to neutralize yourself, which means you're not even looking to multiply who you really are. You feel me? Because in chemistry, they teach you that likes dissolve likes. Opposites attract, which neutralize each other, and likes dissolve likes, which means when two things that are the same come together, they consume each other, they can increase the concentration of whatever it is you're doing. Ain't that what you want to do with a relationship? Increase the concentration as opposed to neutralizing yourself? I digress. I'm going to end it there. Kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.